What's going on, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for your advanced look at the Captain Marvel by Kelly Sue Deconnick Omnibus from Marvel Comics. Let's get started. And before going any further, I want to thank the kind folks at Marvel and David Gabriel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and book market on December 27th or 28th, depending on where you get your books. Now, speaking of direct market, book market, what we're looking at here is the direct market cover. This is the one that is supplied by Jamie McKelvey. On the left-hand side is your standard edition cover, and that's the one that's going to be available everywhere. And that one is supplied by David Lopez. And also, the image on the spine is different than the image on the spine on the direct market cover. Again, direct market cover is only available at places like cheapgraphicnovels.com, waltzcomicshop.com, comicsbugle.com, organicpricebooks.com, diamondcollectors.com, In-Stock Trades, Tales of Wonder, DCBS, and your local comic book store. So here we have Captain Marvel by Kelly Sue Deconnick. And this is when Carol Danvers actually becomes Captain Marvel. So I will be talking about the stories collected in here, showing off the artwork. But first, let's take a look at this cover. I really like this direct market cover by Jamie McKelvey. It really stands out. I like the white border around the picture there. Not that there's anything wrong with the standard edition cover. As a matter of fact, this standard edition cover is what I had for the trade paperback. This is volume 3. So the stories in here have been collected in fat trades like these right here, or skinny trades, and of course in single issues. But this is the first time that we've had it in omnibus format. Let's look at the spine again. Captain Marvel by Kelly Sue Deconnick, Dexter Soy, Felipe Andrade, and David Lopez. And then there's that image of Carol in her Captain Marvel outfit. Higher, further, faster, more. I think that was what the name of the first trade paperback was called. Rated T+, and it is retailing for $125. Underneath the dust jacket, we have a couple of images of Carol here with Lila Cheney. That's from the second half of the book. Oh, this is adorable. It's her little neighbor right there with Carol Danvers. And this piece right here. Okay, so we are going to open this up, talk about, I guess, the reading order of Carol Danvers, what led to this, and, of course, show off the artwork and talk about some of the stories collected in here without going too much into any spoiler territory. But all of this does take place before Kelly Thompson's run, who's also getting an omnibus. Just because I know the name Kelly gets a little confusing when you're in Captain Marvel by Kelly. Aren't we getting that later? Yeah, well, it's Kelly Thompson, and this is Kelly Sue Deconnick. Alright, now let's get started. Alright, so we are going to be cracking this open. We have some yellow end paper there. Captain Marvel. It's Carol in front of that Kree ship. And here are all your credits, pretty much all written by Kelly Sue Deconnick. She does get a couple of issues in here where somebody helps her out, whether it's Christopher Sabella or Warren Ellis helping her out in the later Captain Marvel series. But for the most part, it's her. Jan Van Meter also helping out there in the final issues of the first volume. And here we kick it off with the 2012 Captain Marvel issue number 1. Now, if you're a collector, because I know a lot of my viewers are, first appearances that you're getting CGC'd, and why doesn't this kick off with Avenging Spider-Man? This is put together in a chronological order. Yes, her first appearance as Captain Marvel is in Avenging Spider-Man number 9, but the way they have it laid out in the book, it actually makes sense, because she was already Captain Marvel in that issue, even though it's her first appearance as Captain Marvel. So this collects issues 1 through 17 of the 2012 series, and then the 2014 series, which is the follow-up series, 1 through 15. I believe that was after Secret Origins, or was it Secret Origin, I think? I can't remember. Original Sin, that was it. Secret Origins, what the hell's wrong with me? Original Sin, that's when they revamped it and renumbered it. And then Avengers, The Enemy Within, the one-shot, Avengers Assemble 16 through 19, Avenging Spider-Man 9 through 10, and Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps, number 1 through 4. That one's co-written by Kelly Thompson. The book has 976 pages, and again, retails for $125. Alright, so what are we talking about here? Why did I say her first appearance as Captain Marvel? Well, Carol Danvers has been part of the Marvel Universe for a long time. She first appeared in the original Marvel series, the Captain Marvel series, the Classic series, the Silver Age series of Captain Marvel. And she graduated from there. She got her own power. She became Miss Marvel. And she stayed Miss Marvel for a long time. And then later on, her power was taken from her. And, well, let's not go into details about Avengers 200, because the least I say about it, the better. But then she was brought back into the spotlight in Avengers Annual number 10, where Rogue was her enemy that took her powers, and she lost everything. She lost the power of flight, she lost her super strength, everything she gained through that accident was gone. So what Chris Claremont decided to do after that was make her into this character called Binary, and kind of like the Phoenix, like it absorbed this force, and she joined the Starjammers. Later on, coming back to Earth, became Miss Marvel again, and then later on becoming Warbird during the Kurt Busiek run of Avengers. And then went back to Miss Marvel during the Brian Reed series. But here we are. So why wasn't she ever Captain Marvel? Because she was the first character in the Marvel Universe to kind of be that Captain Marvel legacy character. She was Miss Marvel for a long time. And I mean, there's a lot of theories behind that. A lot of us got used to her being Miss Marvel. We got certain Captain Marvel replacements, like Monica Rambeau. Eventually, Janice Vell became, his own son became Captain Marvel. So, I mean, there were a lot of reasons. But this is when they decided, okay, we need our own strong female lead to kind of go up against Wonder Woman, because DC is releasing these Wonder Woman movies, and we don't have the X-Men, and we don't have the Fantastic Four. So who can we make a top-tier character? And Carol Danvers has been around for a long time. And of course, this is all hearsay, by the way. And nothing has ever been proven by editorial or anybody coming out. Yes, this is exactly why we decided to make a Captain Marvel comic book, so they can make a movie about her eventually. But, you know, I mean, speculations have been everywhere. Now, Carol does get the role of Captain Marvel. But the way that it's done, it's not like, I've earned it, I need to be Captain Marvel. No, it's more of Captain America saying, hey, look, you've been an A-list character for a long time. You've led the Avengers. It's time for you to take that name. It's time for you to take that mantle. And she's refusing it. She's like, I don't need it. You know, because like I've mentioned, we've had several Captain Marvels since, well, this isn't much of a spoiler, the death of Captain Marvel. As a matter of fact, growing up, my Captain Marvel was Monica Rambeau through the pages of Roger Stern's Avengers. But eventually, at the end of this first story arc, she decides, or the first issue rather, she decides, okay, I'm going to take the damn name. I'm going to become Captain Marvel. And that's pretty much it. That was how the story kicks off. Now, of course, the story is about something else, not just her becoming Captain Marvel and taking that name. We do have returning characters from her previous runs when she was Miss Marvel, or during the original Captain Marvel series. But this right here, for example, is one of those returning characters. This is Tracy Burke, who comes in and visits Carol, and she has some bad news about Helen Cobb, one of Captain Marvel's heroes, one of her, when she was just Carol Danvers, when she just wanted to become a pilot. So, unfortunately, Helen Cobb died, and she leaves Carol a plane. And this is when things get a little bit complicated. So Tracy and Carol go and check out the plane, and they talk about the history behind the plane and how it was stranded somewhere in Peru. Hey, Peru represent. Viva Peru, carajo! But Carol decides to fly it, and through this plane and Helen Cobb's magic, I guess, in the afterlife, she is able to travel through time, anywhere from World War II, helping out these young ladies in a fight against the Japanese and the Kree Empire ships. And she gets stuck traveling through time, helping out different people throughout different times lines. So that's what the first story arc is about. Eventually, of course, she comes back to Earth, or back to her modern time. And when going back to her original timeline, she has to deal with Tracy's health. Unfortunately, she has cancer and she's dying of cancer. And of course, if you're familiar with the lore of Captain Marvel, you know that cancer is a horrible thing that cannot be defeated no matter who or what you are, no matter what power you have. So it's got a lot of takes on that. And you have the return of Spectrum there, or Photon during this time. This is, of course, Monica Rambeau, who also was Captain Marvel for a long time. You do have, and I'm not going to spoil this, the return of a particular character that played an important part in Carol's backstory, coming back here with a brand new take on the character, and also the one pulling the strings behind everything. You meet her cat Chewie right there, which if you've seen the movie, you've met that cat. This is the artwork I wanted to talk about, because at first you have, let's go back here for a second, and then we'll come back to this art. Dexter Soy right here through these pages. It almost looks like this painted type of art. And then, you do have a couple fill-in issues of like Emma Rios and Dexter Soy coming back. But the next artist I wanted to talk about, this one right here, this is Felipe Andrade. And I understand this art is not for everybody, but I had a lot of fun looking at this. Like, to me, this is the artist that stood out. And I understand, like I said, this art is going to turn some people off. It's very stylistic. But I love the angles, the crazy angles, especially during fight sequences. And the framing. It's actually pretty easy to follow, but just the faces are a little warped. The bodies are warped, but I really like this art. This is the art that to me stood out in this whole run. And I think most people will probably say, yes, David Lopez is awesome, or Dexter Soy's art is great, but to me, this is the type of art that I wanted more of, just because it's unique, it stands out. This is the fight against Deathbird, so you do get returning characters from her past. But that's not the one I was talking about. And the person pulling the strings behind everything is what kicks off this event with the Avengers, or the Avengers Assemble story arc. And that is the Enemy Within. So that's what the last part of this story is. And it ties heavily to her Kree background and her past. And like I mentioned, the character from the past coming back. But it also has this nice tie-in with the Avengers. Just to remind you, hey, Carol is still a huge part of the Avengers. And this is, of course, during Jason Aaron's run. No, I'm sorry. Jonathan Hickman's run of Avengers. So that's what that story arc is. And then we get those 2 issues of Avenging Spider-Man, which I said were technically her first appearance. However, in chronological reading order of events, they take place afterwards. So this is when she was already established as Captain Marvel and teaming up with Spider-Man for this short-lived series, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and this artwork here is by Terry Dotson. Then the story, like I said, because of original sin, or just because Marvel wanted to, revamps and got rebranded as a brand new #1, and this came out in 2014. So immediately taking place after the events that you just read here. This time around, we do have a different artist. This is David Lopez drawing most of the stories in the last part of the book here. And this is when you find out that Carol Danvers has been dating Rhodey. This is War Machine. And I'm sure that took place in the pages of Avengers Assemble. I'm not sure. But she also decides to take a year up in space as the Avengers representative. So there's someone out there. That's how the whole idea of Alpha Flight up in space took place. So to meet up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, there's actually a team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And one of her first assignments she has to do is return a pod with a Nawalian to go back to their home planet of Torfa. So that's one of the things she's doing, is escorting. There's, like I said, a team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy here. And this is what the type of artwork looks like. There is a secret behind Chewie, her cat. But if you've seen the movie, you kind of know where that's going to go. There is a wonderful team up with Lila Cheney right here, which I really enjoyed, because Lila Cheney is just one of these characters that first appeared in the pages of New Mutants and didn't get a lot of love unless you're an obscure X-Men reader. But I've always been a big fan of that character. So I always get excited when she shows up. So because it's all space related towards the last part of the book, there's also a Black Vortex crossover where she has to deliver the mirror to Kitty Pryde. And the entire Black Vortex event is not in here. It's just part of Carol Danvers' story. And then there's a bittersweet send-off issue with issue number 15 that I thought was written really beautiful. I'm not even going to talk about what it is. But the story isn't over, because then we get the 4 issues of Captain Marvel and the Carol Court. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that this is all during Secret Wars. And again, this one is co-written by Kelly Thompson. So it's Kelly Sue DeConnick and Kelly Thompson working on this particular miniseries right here. Drawn by David Lopez, and I believe Laura Braga does some of the stuff in here in the 4th issue. But this is an alternate reality. It's an alternate take whenever we have Doom in charge of everything and has altered the world. So it's all battle world pretty much. And you'll see the Thor Corps here. So immediately, if you've not read Secret Wars, I figure some people might be confused as to what exactly is happening through these pages, because they give you a little bit of a background about the multiverse being destroyed and the heroes of Earth 616 and 1610 are powerless to save it, and it's talking about all the battle worlds that are out there, and this being one of them. Now, this has not been collected in the Secret Wars oversized hardcover format, but it has been collected in trades. And that's it. That's how it wraps up, and let's look at some of the variants here. To issue number 1, issue number 13. Not every issue got a variant. That is an awesome Amanda Connor variant right there. But these are the different variants that you're going to find throughout here. Arthur Adams and Andre Sorrentino, just to name a few of the creators back here. I didn't see... Yeah, here we go. I didn't see the original character designs, but apparently these are the costume designs that Jamie McKelvey did, who also did the cover for the direct market. And then these are the character sketches. What I wanted to see is actually like different types of costumes they went through and masks that they went through. I love the art process when it comes to the behind the scenes. I wanted to see what other ideas there were for our costume. And then some original page art, some thumbnail art and layout, and then the end paper there. Now, let's talk about the binding. The book has 976 pages. Again, retails for $125. This one here is printed at the Donnelly printer. But honestly, the paper stock that they used and have been using, I've said it lately, reminds me of the iMac printer for the last few books that I've done an overview of, with the exception that it's a little bit slicker. The feel of the paper feels a little bit slicker. This one, of course, Donnelly is in China, and the iMac printer's in Turkey. A little bit of art bleeding through, but not a lot. But that's it. That's all I can say about this. I'm sure you can see this is the way that the spread pages lay over. There's very minimal gutter loss. Let me see if I can find one towards the very back, so you can see how it lays over. But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you had this in skinny trades, fat trades, trades that climb on rocks. Sorry, couldn't help myself. If you've never read this, and if you have any questions, leave your questions down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon, amazing ways to support the channel. And more importantly, all of you stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.